Yes. Why didn't we just use her more often for that? All right. Good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the welcome to the April meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. Since we've got some folks already ready to go, so let's go ahead and stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. It's good. Everybody's ready to go this morning. All right. So again, my normal reminder, if you're a board member, be sure to sign in today so you get credit for being here. There'll be a prize for everybody at the end if you sign up. So let you know what that is. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Everyone on the board should have received the agenda over the weekend. Any adjustments, edits, or comments on today's agenda? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, agenda for today's meeting approved as presented. Item number 5, board meeting minutes from the March 20th meeting. Board members should all have received a copy. Any comments, corrections to the board meeting minutes from last month? Around, hearing, seeing none. All those in favor of approving as presented signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Okay, great, thank you. Board minutes approved as presented. Right. Next up, under new business, it's hard to believe it's this time of the year again already, but our April meeting is when we highlight and daylight elections for the coming year. And as per the bylaws, the vice chair, the duly appointed Hugh Council, is going to give us an update on where he is at with the election committee process.
Wasn't voluntold.
Exactly. No, Karen and I have been putting this together, and she's not here yet so I'm not going to give her a lot of credit. But she and I have been working on this, and so yes, it is election time again. And we have a couple openings on the e-board coming up. We do have a couple people interested. The vice chair and the secretary position on e-board are both open. We do have some interest in those, but if you are interested, please see me or see Karen, and I will be horse collaring somebody today because I have to have a third person on the committee with me when we do the election. So I'll be horse collaring somebody today to be on that group with us and let you know. But those are the 2 positions that are open on the e-board, and then the positions that are coming up for election on the standard board, on a regular board, are Ken Pimlott, myself, Karen Pullen, Sherry Hawk, Mike Connolly, Chris Payne, Angel Ball, Janet Barrington, Alice Cantelo, Dorothy Fine, and Paul Penn. Those are the ones that are up. I'm assuming that all of those people will continue to run for the board. I just wanted to say that we have some other fire safe councils that have come and become part of our group since the last election. And if you would like to have someone on the board to be able to vote on things, see me and let me know who that would be, and we'll get them on the ballot. So anybody else that's currently on the board whose name I did not read, you're not up for election this year, so you're good. So those are the things that are going on. Next month, we'll have the ballots ready. We'll have things ready, and then we'll be voting at the June meeting. So that's it, unless there are a question.
I have a question.
Chris, I figured you might.
No, it's just clarity that I'm trying for. We've talked in the past about limiting the numbers of directors because we had a lot of people that had interest in it. Had you or the executive committee have you discussed any kind of changes to our numbers, or should we count on the fact that if we are that for our re-updating, that we would automatically we decide to. I mean, we still have to go through the election process, but.
Yeah.
But we're still, in good standing. That's.
Yeah, no, actually, Chris, what we did is we actually changed the bylaws to increase the number of board members to whatever the number of fire safe councils would be, to allow at least one person from each fire safe council to be on the board, so if they so chose. So that's where we are with that. Anything else? Well, that was too easy. I'm sure there's something coming.
Thank you, Hugh. So next up, item 7, old business. So Tom Meyer from the Office of Wildfire Preparedness, he's committed to another meeting today, couldn't be here, but I wanted to share an update on the status of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan update. The kickoff meeting with the steering committee will be is next Thursday. So this will be the first opportunity for the steering committee and group to get together and lay out the foundation and the framework for the process for the next year. And just so folks know who's on the representing organizations on the working group or steering committee, both myself and Tom Meyer will be representing the county, Jeff Hogue from CAL FIRE, Ryan Wagner from the El Dorado National Forest, Mark Egbert from the RCDs, Troy Morton and or staff from the Sheriff's OES. Tamara Johnston is representing the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. And then we have several representatives from fire districts, Wes Norman from Garden Valley and Alex Brogue from El Dorado Hills Fire Department. So those folks will be, plus the county's GIS program will be engaged in the initial meeting as well. But a lot more will be coming out of that. This initial meeting is to lay out, start to identify all of the stakeholders, start to lay out workshops, community outreach, all of that. So there'll be, again, a lot more coming following that kickoff meeting next week. So again, more to come there. So any questions, comments? Yes, Chris.
Again, just for clarity, you're talking about the Community Wildfire Protection Plan.
Yes, that's what the agenda says.
But at the same time, we have the Hazardous Vegetation and Defensible Space Ordinance that we're still, my group, I'm involved with SAGE, surveyors, architects, geologists, engineers, and I'm also involved with the Taxpayers Association of El Dorado County. So we haven't submitted ours yet. Do you have any, since Tom's not here, do you have any, is there a deadline, or have you heard anything related to that subject that you could tell us in terms of when is it gonna all come together?
Well, we can talk, there is an OWOPR report, and Jenna will be giving that, and we can bring up that there, but just for everyone to understand that CWP is unrelated to that effort. What is together is, as the CWPP is being updated over this next year, it is coinciding with Sheriff's OES work on a multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan update. CAL FIRE is updating its unit fire plan. The safety element of the general plan is also in its final stages of being approved. I believe it's been submitted to the Board of Forestry. So all of those are cross-pollinating in terms of what's in there. So it's a good process. Right, no other questions. So next up, Paul Penn, Strategic Planning Task Group.
The group met.
Can we get a microphone on for Paul there?
So the group met, will be meeting today, submitted a bunch of questions to the candidates for some clarity. We've got a bunch of meetings set up between now and the end of May. Hope to have something to present by the June or July meeting. I think it's a very positive discussion and first go around. So again, we'll be meeting quickly today and a series of meetings, and we hope to have something substantive either next month or the month after. And the report. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, and appreciate you and that group that's assembled to work on that. I look forward to that. Right, next up, information items. I'll start with a couple of things on from the chair's report. You'll hear about it more from Hugh as we get a little bit later, talking about the defensible space training and assessments. But we did collectively at eBoard, working with the training committee, make the decision to put a pause on the defensible space assessor training that was scheduled this month.
This weekend.
Or yeah, this weekend. So you got a free weekend, but it's not canceled. Where we were looking at the end of the day, as we've been working with the fire agency partners in the county and others, realizing that we've made a significant investment in training assessors, over up to 70 so far. It is a huge commitment from the cadre and others to get that work done. What we're finding is we want to make sure we can support and continue to invest in the folks that we're training. There's a lot out there in terms of providing, good standardized forms so that what the assessors are providing, interacting with homeowners, it's the same as what our fire agencies and folks are doing. So that we want to make sure we don't have conflicting information. Doesn't mean the assessment work doesn't providing more. We just want to make sure we're all on the solid foundation. There's just a lot of moving parts that are happening. There's some opportunities through the county to possibly provide some additional support to the fire safe councils to do more of these assessments on a voluntary basis. And so we want to make sure we've got a good system in place to provide ongoing training and support to get that done. And so the training group is working on putting together an assessment, a little survey to go out to all of the folks that have been trained to see, again, we don't really have a good handle on who's available to do assessments. Can they work inside their fire safe council or out? And we don't want to misrepresent the program to anyone. We want to make sure we really understand that we're not overtaxing the folks that have stepped up to do this work, or what do we need to do to better support them? And how do we help, get support out there to get additional assessments done? So that's all in the works. It's not going to be a long-term process. We just, Hugh and the team is working hard to try to come up with some information so we can make some decisions and the group can make some recommendations going forward. So keep all that on your radar. We will be back to put on another round of assessor training. So again, Hugh can talk more about that when he gets to the program update. And then I wanted to chat briefly about Team Rubicon. We know Cord has been here at a previous meeting to talk about their efforts here in the county over the next month, starting Friday. Obviously, lots of efforts going on in the Grizzly Flats community, working with the RCD and many other community partners to assist in hazard tree removal and other projects. When we first met with Team Rubicon and Cord, who was representing their organization, we were really looking for a path forward to include doing defensible space work through our existing defensible space for seniors, veterans, low income program. And we could not come to terms with in having them fit into our program. We didn't want to have a separate process. We already have a process that does assessments or evaluations. We have a scheduling process. We have landowners that are in need. And we were just hoping they would plug in and be part of that, filling that need. They indicated they have their own process for reaching out to landowners. They have a separate process for doing rights of entry that it wasn't going to work for them to work into our program. So we agreed last week with their leadership to the County Fire Safe Council would step back. And the Team Rubicon is going to be reaching out to individual landowners. I'm sure they're reaching out to some of the fire safe councils in the areas that they're working to make contact with landowners that may want to utilize their services. But we just didn't get to a place where they felt they would want to work within our existing defensible space for seniors program. So we've encouraged them. We certainly were happy to steer folks their direction. We are not in a position to give them our list of folks, because when folks sign up for our program, I mean, it is confidential information, and without landowner's permission, we're not going to share that. But we are happy to point folks in their direction and share that out there for them. So David.
I'm pretty sure that you're still coordinating with Resource Conservation District and Market. So that's the truth, right?
Absolutely, and we've been chatting with Mark at length about it and others, and know that that's well in play. So Mark's got a lot of good work lined up And they've been through a number of partners have provided significant support to get that work done that they've identified.
Thanks.
I thought you nicely said it, but just wanted to emphasize, they as a group they're significant. And they come into our area, from a broad international perspective, to help us. And I think that's really a good thing. So I didn't want to discount that they have a purpose, and as you described, it can be separate, but we're all doing the same thing in a essence. So just wanted to mention that.
No, appreciate that, Chris. And this, a lot of this was happening, this was a fairly short time frame, maybe long term. If we think through a relationship in the future, maybe there's a way, if we have more time to put something together, we can come back for another year. So thank you. Oops. All right. All right. Next up, we have Hugh, Vice Chair's report.
Oh, just a couple quick things. I continue to go to the meetings, all the meetings I go to. I don't need to go over all that with you every time, but and it is what it is. But it's just, yeah.
Oh, he does.
I just
Oh.
Thanks. That's not bad for $20 for him to say. No, but there is something, just so you do know, we are out of workbooks at the office unless somebody's brought some in that were extras, so they're all gone. But we are in the process of updating the workbook. We're doing that now, and I want to thank Troy and Mike from the Sheriff's Office OES. They've got us the information we need to get perimeter in there, get a whole new thing on perimeter and do that. The other thing that we're doing, we're going through checking all of the QR codes, because over the year, people move stuff on their internet and the QR codes don't always match up anymore. If wherever they go, somebody changes the QRL on that, then they don't match up. So we want to make sure that as we come out, roll that out, the new one, those are all still good. So we're doing that. And if you have information or you have stuff that maybe you'd like to see in there that we didn't, that now that you've had a year to play with it, let me know and we'll look at trying to maybe do something with that. So that's what's going on with that. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, no, you're surprised. I know.
We're gonna take advantage of this, Hugh. Thank you. No, appreciate that, Hugh. Next up, Secretary's report, Karen.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for being late.
It's
I
okay.
had no real good excuse.
We'll take a bad excuse. It's okay. Yeah.
So I just want to remind everyone that probably tonight or in the morning, the renewals for your fire safe councils are going to be going out. And I will need them back by June 1st, please. It will be your application, associate fire safe council application agreement and conflict of interest. And that is what we use also to let the insurance company know who is still active in that. So as soon as I can get those back by June 1st, I would appreciate it. And then for board members that are up for re-election, you'll also be getting, and that won't be going out tonight, but you'll also, just to look ahead, be getting a board application, a board agreement, and a conflict of interest for that as well, which we do every time we renew. And I think that's it.
Great. Any questions for Karen? All right. Thanks, Karen. Treasurer's report, Janet.
Good morning, everybody. Just to give you an update on the treasurer's report, we are in a good position that we have a lot of grants. We are in not so great a position in that some of the reimbursement processes from our grantors is taking a little longer than we had anticipated. The California Fire Safe Council grant that awarded us $500,000 to do defensible space, which was approved last September. We still have not gotten reimbursement for the $60,000 that we have spent to date. We have stopped spending, which is part of the reason that our defensible space program is closed down right at the moment. So we have stopped using that grant until such time as we receive funding from them. We are assured that they are in the process, but it has not transpired yet. So we have an invoice into them for that amount and an advance, so that going forward, we have cash in our treasury to pay for stuff, and then we'll submit the reimbursement back to them. The other large outstanding reimbursement is from CAL FIRE for our hazard tree grant. For a variety of reasons, that reimbursement has been delayed for the MGB invoices for December and February. There was a little mix up. They had some outstanding December items that they submitted with their February invoice. They were paid for January. They are still outstanding for part of February, part of December, all of February, and now all of March. I have been in contact with CAL FIRE on the reimbursement, and I have also submitted an advance for that grant. These invoices from MGB quite large. They're in the $90,000 to $100,000 range monthly that their work is being invoiced to us. So we don't have the float to float them until we get the reimbursement in. So MGB has been apprised. They have been talking to their subcontractors, but we do have some subcontractors with MGB who have been reaching out to us to find out when they are going to get paid. The advance from CAL FIRE, I was assured that it would be expedited, so I'm expecting it any day. But until that happens, those invoices are going to remain outstanding. So that we, cash flow wise, those are the two areas that we do have a cash flow issue right now, and those invoices are being held up. Other than that, we received reimbursement for most of our Stevens Authority outstanding invoices. Tamara and I met with Jacoby at the Forest Service, and we worked through all of those, and we have began receiving our reimbursements, so we're getting caught up there. So from the financial statement point of view, that's what I have to report on that. The good news is that we do have a contract with a new bookkeeper. I meet with her on Tuesday to start transferring items over, and I was just going to grab her name here.
Linda Parks.
Linda Parks out of Rescue, and she agreed to join us, and we have a contract in place, and that transition will start happening. We're still going to use Pat Turner to do our taxes, because I feel it's important to have separation of duties there, to have some independent view of our books on top of what we are doing month to month. So that transition will start happening in May, and that contract is good through June of 2025, at which point we can reevaluate where we want to be. Unless there's any questions. Any reports?
Wow, great.
David
So,
and I already.
okay. So what you're saying is, so all the board members should have received the treasurer's report for March in their materials. Any comments, questions, or edits on the report? Right, hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Excellent. Thank you, Janet. As always, a lot of moving parts and it's happening. So. Right, this brings us up to partners reports. I don't see anyone from BLM online with us this morning, so that moves us up to number 2, CAL FIRE. Megan.
Good morning. First, I want to introduce Jessica Long. She's our new forester in the unit, the Amber Eldorado unit. Her job is forest practice inspector, so she's the one out and about making sure that California law is ruled. Among other things, I just wanted to bring you today to say hello and talk to her and meet her. Next up, so our burn permits are going to start being required on May 1st as usual. And so if you need a burn permit, those are all online now. In case they find that, just search online for Cal Fire burn permit. And that'll take you to a page with a lot of information. Process and a link to actually comply. And then otherwise, we're just trying to use our spring window here to complete as much project work as we can on our distribution management projects and fuel reduction and improve prescribed burning. So out there. And you're recording. It's trying.
So I've gone through the process before in prior years. Has anything changed, other than the automation part of it, that we can go in and do it online? But is there anything related to size of the burn pile? And what is that time period of which this process needs to be done?
It needs to first start to be required. I believe they are trying to get back to folks within 3 days. So I guess the soonest that you know, the better to apply. And then if you don't get any feedback, go ahead and follow up on the website with instructions for how to do that. And then those will be good until.
Okay, thanks.
And Chris, you still have to watch the same video. Same. You can't cheat, you gotta watch the same video. Yeah, you can do it. Great, thank you, Megan. All right, next up from Office of Wildfire Preparedness, the one and only Jenna Patry.
We have 40 positions that were approved by the Board of Supervisors on April 2nd. And so those positions are a administrative analyst, which they will be the Firewise and Fire Safe Council coordinator, and that will be covered by our California Fire Safe Council and the BLM grant. And then we have our senior admin analyst who will help administer the Weber Creek project and the CWMP grant. And then we'll have also 2 Central States inspectors, and they will be helping with that Weber Creek project assessments, as well as just our regular office defensible space inspections. And those recruitments are in process, and we're hoping that those will be filled by June. For the Weber Creek project, we have a contract for preliminary environmental review work that has been negotiated and is in process. And then our target approval and start date for that will be early mid-June. And then we have, so the OWOPR grants, the California Fire Safe Council Coordinator grants, which is approximately $115,000. We were notified of the award on April 11th. And that will help fund the Firewise Fire Safe Council Coordinator position, so that administrative analyst position that we're in recruitment for. And that will fund that position through December 2024, as well as public outreach for that. And then we have our BLM grants, which is about $10 million. We are pending official notice of award. And that is going to cover all of our defensible space inspections, our defensible space clearing, fuel reduction, and also will help once the California Fire Safe Council grant ends on December 24th, December 2024, that BLM, that position will then transfer over to the BLM grant, and so then so that will be funded. That position can be funded for the next 5 years. And then we have our defensible space program. So we are currently coordinating with CAL FIRE on our CEAs and defensible space inspection areas. So we have created a postcard. I'm currently working with getting some bids from some print shops to get those printed and mailed out. So we're hoping to do that within this month. So those will be going out to our CEAs and defensible space inspection areas. And then we have also put those maps on our OWalker mapping tool. And I also need to put those PDFs of those maps on our website. So I'll work on getting those up probably today. And then our defensible space ordinance. So we're currently working on updates and clarifications to a handful of sections based on the feedback that we received from those public workshops. And it's not, we're targeting to get it to the Board of Supervisors on June 18th. So with that, we are still, I know Chris had a question about like, are we still taking feedback? We are. So if you really have, questions, comments on that, we're not taking it to the board until June. So we still have time. So please feel free to email us at wildfire ready, right? So that will be a long email, but there. And general questions that we received through that feedback during the public workshops, and so that will be all covered in that FAQ. And then lastly, for me, and Ken has to replace the 2007 version, and that is scheduled to go to the board on April 30th. And then I have Ken is covering CWPT update.
Which we did.
Already did.
Thank you for clarifying the hazardous vegetation space ordinance deadline. Appreciate that. Can you tell just a short response, emphasis areas? People, I get questions, what's an emphasis area? And I try to tell them that's an area where the county is focused. Could you explain that just a little bit? Is that possible or not? Does anybody have
Richie,
response?
Yeah, so what a county emphasis area is, Jenna stated, we are working in conjunction with CAL FIRE and local fire jurisdictions to determine inspection areas. So county emphasis area is just the term we use to designate our inspection zones. Kind of like CAL FIRE uses defensible space inspection area.
Okay, and what's the current emphasis areas that the focus is on?
So, and Jennifer, we have them on our mapping pool. I believe we had 6 this year that we selected with the county. Jenna will also have those maps up, so if you want to view those, so we have them spread out throughout the county in various communities.
Now, are you, can you say to me you have them on this site?
Yeah.
You're talking about the OWalker site, right?
Yes.
Which I just went into the other day, and there's a lot of stuff in there already. And it seems like it's going through some evolution.
So they are that
yeah.
website, but they're on a specific tab as well outside of the mapping tool that we'll have those. Jenna should have those up today.
Okay.
So you'll be able to view specific PDFs of areas that you're after.
We had a couple. Tamara, did you have a question on that piece? And it is, and it just to draw the connection, it's also the Jenna mentioned the joint postcard with CAL FIRE. They're all listed on that postcard, so that'll put out some more information as soon as we can get it printed and out there, I believe. But I'll let if Jenna's got any follow up there.
what we're doing, and that we're kind of, joining up with CAL FIRE on those. And then once those go out, so those are gonna be out to all of those people that live in those inspection areas, all of those parcels. So those will be sent out like all at once. And then we will also, once we come up on those inspections, the county is going to be sending out just a smaller postcard to that specific county emphasis area when saying, hey, we're gonna be in your area, within the month. So there'll be reminders sent out.
I think Lester had a question.
A little confusing,
Lester, you need to have a microphone.
I don't know.
You need,
Just wanted to find out for the county, it has the active and executed or completed ones. And it doesn't have the same for the CAL FIRE. And it looked like there were some that were completed. It was if you could add on the completed ones. And we were trying to figure out what's going on.
So. Site updated. So that's gonna be one of the tabs I'm going to be adding. Just like how we have the county one set up where it says active and completed, I'm going to do also the same for the CAL FIRE one. So yes, all of the ones that are currently on the active list, we completed. So yeah, that I'm gonna be working on updating all. And then I'll be adding also CAL FIRE's new defensible space inspection areas to that as well. So because they're not currently there right now. So yeah, any other questions?
Alice had her hand up.
Those maps are actually really great. I love having that on the website, look at that yesterday, but my question was, on your postcard, are you gonna also mention the Fire Safe Council assessments that are available that are more detailed on parking?
So, cause we did, put that information on the flyer that I created, it's not on the, postcard, but there is a link to the Fire Safe Council, your assistant programs is on there. But we don't touch on the assessments.
I just have a question then for Ken. Is that because the program is still kind of trying to be looked up? I think it would be good if it was on the postcard.
Yeah, I think that this postcard is an evolution. This is the first opportunity that CAL FIRE and the county have ever done this together. So that was a significant effort just to try to bring together these two inspection programs to coordinate, trying to limit what was on the card because there's a lot there. So we thought the assistance programs were probably the most important piece relative to the Fire Safe Councils for this year, because we're trying to give some tools and resources for the inspectors to share back. But yes, I think over time, once we sort of ensure we've got the ability within the Fire Safe Council to support the assessment program, we want to obviously advertise that much more. But that again goes to one of the many reasons why we want to just take a pause and make sure we've got the organizational structure in place.
I'm gonna share her mic.
That'd be great, Bruce.
So, familiar with this publication? Hey, Chris, we picked this up at the Placerville Fire event. It has all the stuff you're talking about right on it. Just thought you liked it.
Is there a stack of them in the back right now?
No, not that I don't.
Well, then it's not available.
Well, it's available in the public for quite a while. I mean,
Well, I guess just on that point, there's a lot, and I'm gonna toot the horn of Jenna and Richie. There's in like 2 short months with Jenna being on board, we have completely redone that idea of even having publications. And so this is a bit of a work in progress, but I thank you because Bruce is exactly right. We really worked hard, Jenna and the team did, to get out this information to try to get to the Placerville event. And there much more of this will be coming. Jenna's learning a lot about government procurement processes and but this is we're light years ahead of where we were even 2 months ago. And so just have patience, but definitely appreciate you bringing that one up, Bruce.
so the point of my question is, there's, on the inspection areas by agency, it lists mostly neighborhoods and areas. However, there's a couple of samples in here where you named a road instead of an area. So I'm just checking to make sure that there wasn't just a point of confusion. Puerto del Sol is a road. It's in Rancho del Sol as a neighborhood. So are they going to do the whole neighborhood or just the road?
We should briefly cover that.
Yeah. So, thank you. So some areas, some communities have, are identified by their name, like I know Johnstown, for example, as well. That's just that's the main drag through that area. But the community is really called like Garden Valley and Ranch Estates. But there's areas off of Garden Valley Ranch Estates that they'd be going to. So it was just more of a common name that they went with there. So that's really where we got that identification from. So for some of them, it's area names like Quintet, some of them it's certain road names that are usually the main drive through. It just kind of depends on what makes sense for the area. Hope that clarifies.
Yeah, it helps.
All right, any other? Oh, okay, Elizabeth, good.
Sure.
Great, yeah, we'll play. This year, so between and we are looking at description that as well for the government kind of fires. For I think doing some inspections as well. I believe after we whittle it down, Forest Service and federal government owned land, because we're not gonna send them 40 letters. We have about 5,000 of police parcels this year, give or take, between CAL FIRE and county. And there's gonna be more coming down the line to the CAL FIRE may add more than their sector different areas, and then local government will start participating in this, or not local government, I'm sorry, local fire. We'll start participating as well, so that number's gonna grow. Okay, anything else?
That's gonna be a huge jump over prior years, and I just wanted to be able to let our people who in our area know that they're gonna start seeing a lot more corrections out there. They don't get it this year, it'll be very soon.
And that's 5,000 parcels identified, so each one of those potentially can get up to 3 inspections, so there's a lot of inspections that are coming down the line.
And a quick question, you said you were making it to the physical face ordinance, please, are those changes?
So working on this, so no, so it's in the process of the pencil stage working group, they're going through the big old. So that should be happening soon, but no timeline here.
Okay, we notify us when it's available. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll update it.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for, oh, go ahead, John. Thank you. Well, and just so that folks know, Jenna mentioned the fire safe coordinator position, and remember that was the position that we originally, the county had contracted, worked with the RCD to have that position. That Maya Davis was filling that. As you recall, that contract with the RCD that all ended in April of last year. And so the county's been working with the State Fire Safe Council, because all of the original recipients of that grant were all offered the opportunity to get another round of funding. And so what the county did is it's filling the position directly rather than have a contract with the RCD. The county's actually hiring a position directly into the county. And that's what Jen is referring to with the recruitment is in place. The Board of Supervisors approved the position. So the county's now recruiting to fill that position. And then that again will be funded from the State Fire Safe Council grant till the end of this year. And then as she mentioned, we have some opportunities with the BLM grant to keep that funded for another 4 years. That was written in. Things have kind of morphed over time with how that position is being utilized. As you all know, Richie Galvin has really stepped up to be the FireWise coordinator for the county. And that's, I think, really going to continue because that support has been sorely needed by all of us. And so the fire safe coordinator position is really being opened up to be that liaison to and support the fire safe councils. And so I think we're all looking forward to having a dedicated position to work with all of us, which is again what we were really looking, the benefits we got from having Maya in position. We really want to continue that And now having it sort of under the umbrella of the county, embedded with Richie at the Firewise and embedded with Jenna, working on so many of the other programs, I think it's just really going to be value added. So we expect a lot. We expect a lot of us to be able to engage with that position as it comes online. So more to come there. Okay, next up, Fire Chiefs Association. I don't see anybody. I don't know we don't have anybody from Fire Chiefs, and I also don't see anybody from Fire Prevention Officers Association. I don't see Lucas here as the chair. So we will move on to, let's see, I don't see anybody from the El Dorado Forest. Brad Stewart's been our contact as they're going through some staffing changes on the El Dorado, and he's definitely been very engaged along with Jacoby, sort of more behind the scenes. But they just can't always get folks here to the meeting. Number 7, the RCD. Mark, I don't know if Courtney's here today or if I've missed. Oh, that was like a common, a group sigh. Well, we definitely feel for her, so she's doing her duty. That's good. Eric Brown, SMUD. It's just we're in that time of year where everybody's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I know our agency partners are busy. Same with Mike Webb, and I will tell you, Mike continues to be engaged with PG&E strategic fire planning leadership within the PG&E organization and looking for opportunities to partner. After I have a message from him just yesterday on looking for some things to help. So I think we'll be seeing more from PG&E, hopefully down on the ground here in the coming months. But I do know they're here. Item 10, we're well represented by the Sheriff's Office this morning and appreciate them. So I'll turn it over to, I guess we'll start with Lieutenant Morton. Troy.
Everybody's busy, but we're here.
And duly noted.
In the town hall, May 18th, Union Mine High School, from 11:30 to 12:45. So that'll be our team, fire, tax account, and blockers. My team will be giving tips on what's going to happen when the wildfire strikes, what the process is, what to expect. And the others will be giving tips on results. So May 18th at Union Mine High School, 11:30 to 4:45. We have another town hall scheduling in South Lake Tahoe on June 29th. No details of that yet, working that out. And another one is Mosquito on July 25th. So the Tahoe one and Mosquito one, are still being worked out. All 3 town halls are just basically informative town halls on preparedness for wildfire and what that can happen in the tornadoes. Let's see, next disaster council meeting is May 15th at 1 p.m. So I think it's following your next fire safety council meeting. It'll be a fun busy day. And lastly, we just continue to push out Perimeter and Brave on the learning platform and people with that. We can use them in that one. If you need flyers, digital or printed, just get a hold of us. Emergency info at USO.org. That's the email address on all the websites. And we'll send you the digital version or we can drop off some print flyer. Yeah.
Right, so I know you're also doing a drill evacuation of Logtown right before the state 18 meeting.
Yeah.
And half of my Sandwich Council was in the same perimeter zone. So I was wondering if people in our area would also get that evacuation, or will it be very targeted to just people that stay on Logtown?
We're getting volunteers for people to participate. So I think we have about 20 volunteers right now. So we're only gonna include the people and actually go into the house, knock on your door and evacuate them that choose to operate.
So it won't be a generalized alert from rave?
No. So we will be planning a countywide rave test sometime pre-fire season to work out the people how that's going to go. Okay. Which would go to everybody in the
And then the second question was from perimeter. If a rave alert goes out, does it link to the perimeter, or do people have to navigate the way to perimeter separately?
So we will put the link to perimeter in the emergency alert on there. So you'll get your rave alert saying this area is under evacuation order, please know your license address, and we'll explain where, because not everyone click on it, so the alert's still gonna say, explain where it's under an order of warrant. But then it will say, click on this link to go to perimeter. So how it works is, we fill out the policy, we basically draw our evacuation order area in grade, or student in perimeter. We copy that over to grade and send it, and so when we get the alert, we'll be able to go to the perimeter and see where it's in the order of warrant.
Awesome. Okay, I'm sorry.
So I went to check out the Rave app. And it said it's only for first responder. Is that?
No, so go to ready.edso.org, and that's how you can access where you can sign up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Perimeter is only for first responder.
No, so perimetermap.com. Just go to perimetermap.com, and go to the location, we'll show where you're at, and we'll show our kind of map following. So yeah, there's no sign up on perimeter, it's just perimetermap.com.
Question?
Yes, sir. Sorry, yes, she was already waiting.
Oh.
It's full color and pretty busy.
Yeah.
We recently had an event and, tried to reproduce it through copying, and it's just really expensive. Is there a way to have it reproduced in an easier to read black and white version that we can easily print out for events that's cheaper?
Yeah, we can play with that and get that out. Send it out, we can send it out all over. Yeah, we'll look at it. It's hard to put all the information on the perimeter and rate flyer to get everything I want to say out about it, but keep it simple. So that's like version 25.
Really expensive to reproduce for us, yeah.
It was very pretty, though. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
You have a lot of hats on, and sometimes they're stacked. I noted on our agenda that we have it as EDSO or under the partnership, our partners reports. But I think it's also OES, shouldn't it be also sheriff, OES, kind of like maybe put a hyphen or something, okay?
Yeah,
So can you kind of give us a perspective just quickly, how that all fits together with the sheriff's office?
yeah, so depending on the county you're in, some counties have OES standalone county department. Some have them under the sheriff's office. So we are the OES team for the county, just like we would be if we were a county department. It just happens to live under the sheriff's office. So it's a division of the sheriff's office in our county. So I'm a lieutenant for the sheriff's office, and he's a deputy for the sheriff's office. He's the deputy chief for EPA fire. We're all assigned to the office of emergency service to be emergency management for it. So that's why I'm wearing a sheriff uniform and I'm the OES standard. As it is in the defense.
And then an extension to that would be all of these things that you talk about, whether it's a perimeter or whatever, there's sub units of OES, right? There's sub committees, or how does that structure work?
No, it's just all the tools we use in emergency management.
So they're actually tools to the end of providing quality OES to other companies.
Yeah,
Okay.
OES, learn warning, exactly.
Okay, thanks.
We got a couple of questions over here, Karen, and then Paul.
And just quickly, can I get the dates again?
Yeah, so, and,
We'll put it back out again.
yeah, we said we can't.
Okay.
Again, so
Yeah.
18, 11:30 to 12:45 is in line. June 29th is South Lake Tahoe, details EPD. And the Mosquito is July 25th. As we get details for the Tahoe one and Mosquito one, location, time, and all that. With the very colorful flag.
I think we have Paul first.
So after you're done, your town hall, Diamond Springs is having their Green Waste Day at Fruit Growers from noon to 4. Come on down.
Totally relevant. Just look at the. Code red before, you would automatically be migrated.
Yes.
Over, haven't been able to sign since.
So, Barrett's our alert warning expert on this that deals with it briefly. Your information should have migrated over. But we were told as a one when we made the migration, sign in and you can't make a new sign in. For the majority of everybody, their information migrated over. Because they got alerts through Rave, when we sent them out for, I think, the last fire we had. And it was all migrated, and we can log into Rave and see, we have 100,000, that's right, roughly in Rave contacts, a little more than 100,000 contacts, so they obviously were silent in the last year, they're migrated. It's technology, it's possible, yeah, okay, we still encourage people to go through and either re-sign up or log in, because people move, they change the phone number. Yeah, you can just re-sign up if you can't get in. If it's not gonna.
I tried that and it didn't work.
That's strange. We'll have to connect with Bear afterwards. Scott Bear is, he's our learning morning specialist. We can try to walk you through that. So every now and then people call our office and he actually signs up with the phone.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And again, you do get credit for bringing 3, Troy, so that should give you credits for the future. Yes. Great. I don't see Elizabeth Dyer from Bureau of Reclamation. So that will conclude our partners reports and move into program reports, grants and funding. Tamara.
Okay, as I proposed that have been submitted recently, as I reported the last month, we submitted the California Artificial Council grant for $100,000 for outreach and education project. A few people have asked me for a list or description of the individual fire safe council projects that were proposed, and which I think is a great idea. So I'll put that together and send it out to the groups sometime in the next couple of weeks, so you can see what other people are proposed to do. We submitted $100,000 grant to PG&E for the chipper program. And at the request of CAL FIRE, we reconfigured our grant request to CAL FIRE. So we're doing one request for the Defensible Space Program for about $940,000. And then our second request is for the Hazardous Tree Program, but rather than for tree removal, it will be to do the mitigated negative declaration for CEQA in order, I know it's complicated, in order to be able to extend our ability to remove trees, hazardous trees from 100 feet from structures out to 300 feet. Right now, with current law under the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, we're only allowed to remove up to 100 feet, but there are hazardous trees that extend further than that. So in order to be able to include that in our program in the future, we need to get CEQA clearance, which is reasonably long and expensive process. So it'll be for the whole Western zone. So we are requesting $162,000 to do that process. So those are the two qualified grants we're requesting. And then we also have, just a reminder, currently pending U.S. Forest Service grant for $6.6 million. We're hoping to hear sometime this month. That will be for defensible space and hazardous tree removal. And April is also a quarterly report month, so there'll be a lot of reports. But that's all I have. Yes. Any questions? Dave just asked me if I could say more about the Forest Service one. I'm not super hopeful we're going to get it. Honestly, it's a little bit of a stretch for what they're doing. but we requested, I think around half of that, 6.6 million is, or 600,000 is for our fee, I believe, fiscal sponsor fee, so that would be great. And then, half and half would be for the defensible space program, and the other half will be for hazardous tree removal, and I believe it was over a 5-year period. So it'd be awesome if we got it, but it didn't exactly fit into their guidelines. They were much more kind of area focused, and we're doing it more parcel by parcel on the whole western slope. So whether they go for that or not, I think we'll see. It's a stretch.
If you apply for these grants and you get two at the same time for the same thing for defensible space, can you accept both, or do you have to take one or the other?
Yeah, right now we can usually accept both because we have more need than we have money to meet it. I would love to have that challenge.
Grant money?
Uh-huh.
So, people have asked me, how grants work, because it's just a fundamental question. They're in an area, they feel like they're unsafe. Can you speak to how you see now this evolution, which you're a paid person that handles grants for us collectively? How does this all fit today comparative to the past?
Well, so what it sounds like you're talking about are kind of projects.
Project
Area
yeah,
projects,
yeah.
right, they feel reduction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, pretty much all grant now, your project needs to be, if it's a fuel treatment project in a specific area, it's gonna need to be in some kind of land. And so if you have an idea for a project in your area, you wanna make sure that you wanna make sure to participate in the CWPP process that is starting now, this month. And ensure that your project is prioritized with your whole community, in that plan. And that plan will be the roadmap for applying for funding related grants across the Western Coast.
Just to let people know, this is a very big deal. To be able to have a project today, in my day, it was just try as an individual. Now it's more collectively done. It's got to be in the CWPP. It's essentially, I'm just paraphrasing what you just said. I guess this is where we've had this discussion with Ken and I, talking about what's the future of us as a social fire safe councils. And I think my idea is that the future is getting together with like fire safe councils in a collective way, because that's stronger in grant application world than an individual trying to do an individual project in a neighborhood. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're hearing from funders, that they want to have fewer, larger projects that are, contiguous. So, yeah, I mean, I think for the strategic perspective for the Western Slope, we want to be able to get as much money to do as much work as we can. And so strategically, how do we position ourselves in order to do that? If you have a smaller project in your little neighborhood, yeah, absolutely, it should be connected to kind of a larger project, in your whole area to make it, frankly, just more fundable. Like, it's probably just not even going to get funded. And the implementation work is more with larger projects, but the actual application work is it's kind of the same whether you're asking for 100,000 or 5 million, it's very similar. So I think to be fundable, we need to have more strategic larger projects.
Thank you.
I'm good. You think any other questions for Tamara? Great, thank you. Assistance programs, Jessica, pass the mic.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, the Defensible Space Program is still pending, paused, so I don't have any updates for that. But for our chipping program, year to date, we have completed 88 jobs, cleared 176 acres, chipped 15,237 cubic yards, and spent $40,472. For hazardous tree, we have assessed 51 new parcels, completed 95, identified 121 new trees, cut 222 trees, and spent $248,258. And the last thing I was gonna say, for our chipping events, I know I have scheduled a few with some of you. Can you please ensure that you are informing your community to put your 3-letter identifier on their application? I am already receiving quite a bit and they're not any codes, but I'm smart and I put them in. Just make some. If we have the 3-letter code. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, that'll complete my report.
I just have a quick question. Quick question, what's the time frame now between when someone applies for shipping and they actually come?
So the process is when you submit an application, I get to it within 2-3 days at most. I assign it to a contractor. They have 2 weeks to respond. So they're supposed to be contacting you within 2 weeks of me assigning it to them. And if you don't hear from them, you can just contact me. But I know that there's been a few issues where people believe they have submitted an application and there are no applications in the database. So please ensure that you are receiving an actual job number upon completion. Otherwise, there is no application. Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. All right, next up, Hugh, training.
Yeah, well, first of all, before I forget, Alice and Kit have a workshop today from 1 to 3 here on defensible space, a deeper dive. And we thought it would be a good time, and I'm sure Alice will talk more about this, but thought it would be a good time to do this right now because people are starting to go to Home Depot and to Green Acres, and they're buying all their plants because the sun's out and everybody wants to plant food for the deer and all that stuff. So
That's me.
So we thought this would be a great time for Alice and Kit, and they stepped up, they volunteered to come up and help us decide, okay, if we're going to do that, buy these plants, put them out there. One, what are the best types of plants and where should we put them? So that's today from 1 to 3. Also, as Ken mentioned earlier, we did postpone our defensible space home hardening class that was scheduled for this weekend. To be very honest, we looked at the data and we had, and I'm sure there are some that didn't get reported, but over the last year, we had 70 people and we had about 104 assessments that were done, excluding Sierra Springs and Auburn Lake Trails, because they have their HOAs and they do them every year. So I took them out. They're going to do them whether they have the training or not. But the rest of it. So we're not seeing all of the number of assessments that we would anticipate with a number of people. Also, there were some other issues, and I've had phone calls with folks, and you all get it. What form? Is there a standard form or what's that? So there's that. Is there, what other kind of training we're going to do? What about a handout package? One fire safe council says, well, I'm going to hand out this stuff. Another one says, well, I'm going to hand out this stuff. So we need a standard package. And also we find that we want to try to ensure that if we go out as a fire safe council do an assessment and CAL FIRE is out doing an inspection or the county is out doing an inspection, we're really essentially telling people the same thing. Now recognize when CAL FIRE goes out and does an inspection and the county goes and does an inspection, they're really primarily looking at the defensible space, not so much home hardening, because there are not any regulations for home hardening unless you're building a new home. That's a different story. But they will talk about some of those things. So we want to try to make sure that we want to build a bridge per se between the Fire Safe Council, the county working with Richie, and CAL FIRE working with Jeff Hogue to make sure we're really telling people the same thing, essentially the same thing when we go out. So that's another thing we want to do. And then some Fire Safe Councils have said, hey, how do I get the people to ask me for an assessment? I mean, I put the information out there, but I don't get very many requests. What's that? How can we improve that? How can we make that better? And then so we're looking at that. And so what that has done is it's kind of set up the development of a defensible space assessment working group or advisory group that will include all of the people on the training committee, because all the people on the training committee are part of the training class for defensible space already. But I'm also, and I have a sign-up sheet. So if there are those people, and I've talked to a couple already that have already done some work on this. But I want to put a little advisory group together to work on this, to try to set up to resolve these issues and make sure we're doing this correctly. Everybody's on the same page. We've got standard form, all that kind of stuff. And we're moving on that already. As Ken said, Alice is working on a questionnaire that's going to go out to all the folks that have already taken the training and try to get some feedback from that. So as we put this together, I want to get this group, I want to put this together. I want to try to get it done as soon as we can. And then once that's back in place, then we'll reschedule a training class. So if you are interested at all, and I'm not looking for a ton of people, because you know how that is. You put a ton of people, we'll never get anything done. So, but if you do have an interest and on a special thing, you would like to be part of this advisory group for this defensible space, please see me following the meeting and let me get your information so I can get you on the list. So as we start having these meetings and talking about this, and I will tell you now, there will be meetings. The meetings will most likely, and unless Chris tells us we can't do it, the meetings will be most likely down at our office in our break room, in our room down there on Main Street. So that's all I have. That's really, I
think he was just kidding, Chris.
Yeah.
I see the oh no. We're good. We're solid.
We're good.
We're good. These are our tenants for my group out on Gold 1848, and they're wonderful.
Your anchor tenants.
We love it. No, we are feeling very supportive.
No, I want to say every time I've wanted that room, I've never had a problem getting it, ever, never. And I've never had any hassle using it.
That's a nice room.
I'm just kidding. Although,
why do you put that there?
Well, I'm just kidding. So any questions about any of the stuff on training? Okay, and then one last thing, our training group, we're also we're looking at today, like I say, today we're doing Allison and Kit are doing the workshop on the defensible space landscaping. And then we're also planning to do, once the defensible space ordinance is done, we'll probably combine a defensible space, the ordinance, and a perimeter workshop after our class. I know the guys from OES they don't know that yet, but they do that. But anyway, we'll look to putting that together down the road. And then we have some other things in the pipeline that we'll start doing. It won't be after every meeting. Originally, we looked at trying to do these quarterly. But we'll keep you abreast of what's coming out with those. Well, that's it for me.
You started enough.
I do my best.
Next up is Alice, Outreach and Education.
First off, I wanted just to thank, last year it helped me set up a very large display at Placerville's Fire Safe event.
Yeah.
And Dorothy Fine and Elizabeth Standen and Terry Klein and Kathy T. long name, and Q Council, who also stepped up and actually manned that group for Placerville Fire Safe Council that day. So thank you guys very much. They did a wonderful job engaging with lots of people. Let's see, just a little bit about the defensible spacing. It's actually gonna be on landscaping, like I said, but a lot of other things too, including looking at the Bible for defensible space, which is the forestry guidelines about defensible space, trying to go deeper into some of this stuff especially for people who are doing assessments for really for anybody. Also, we're gonna be looking at some of the social science behind how to get people to mitigate at their properties, and some ideas on how to engage with people and get them to actually do things on the property. And then third, Hugh kind of mentioned this, but I am also looking at our website. You know, a lot of you have really liked the idea of the behind the scenes. So very slowly, this is going on in the background.
Very
to eventually, very slowly.
Just
Yeah. For you guys. So just letting you know that's it's not dead. It's still happening slowly. Any questions?
Sorry, Alice, this is an opportunity. So this came up yesterday. I met with Barbara Koldell, who's the boss of the Farm Bureau. And on August 4th, do you already know this?
I mean, I do. Actually, so let me bring up two things. I forgot to bring up two things. So first of all, so the fair is coming up too, which is in June. And so start thinking about that. We'd really like to have a lot of people from lots of different fire state councils take on like one 3 or 4 hour session. So it's really a great way to interact with people. So just be thinking about that again. It's the third week in June, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be asking you for that. It doesn't have to be people in this room, it could be anybody else in your fire state council. And then in addition to that, the Ag Commission is, I thought it was the Ag Commission, the Farm Bureau?
Farm Bureau.
Okay, Farm Bureau is creating a new event this year. It's gonna be on August 4th, like he says, and it's kind of similar to what the Master Gardeners were doing with their Fall into Gardening event, but they're doing it again more bigger, community-wise, through the Farm Bureau. And they would like the Fire State Council to be there, and they're doing planning meetings already. If this is really exciting to somebody else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll start going to those meetings, and we will try to be there for that event on August 4th. Just want some more about that?
Oh, we'll try to help you too, Alice. And it's on a Sunday. It's gonna be 12 to 3, and they should have food trucks. No, so thanks, Alice. I didn't know you already did.
Yeah.
Keep waiting.
Dorothy.
At those events that Placerville Day was awesome. We got a lot of questions though from people that didn't know if they were in a fire safe council, if they were, what was it? Is there any way that we can think of having a big map at those events that show the different fire safe councils? And the other piece is for those people that don't know if they are in one and want some information about the fire safe councils, if we as individual fire safe councils could have some literature or, like a one-page, just like a one-pager out, to tell about how to be able to contact the Camino Fire Safe Council, for instance. So if, just so that we can make sure that people are aware if they aren't in a fire safe council.
Jordan, you had some really good comments that you made afterwards. And so I'm gonna take all those to heart and use them for the fair. Perfect. Thank you.
And I do think as things are evolving with county GIS and the mapping tool, Richie's been doing a lot of work trying to get boundaries. I know there's some discussion going on that today here to continuing to evolve, fine tuning the council boundaries. All of that's available online to anybody now. So I think it's also how we want to use that in the future to articulate. I mean, ideally, it would even be great to have it at the fair where they can go online. If we had a little kiosk where they could do that. So I think the information's there. We just have to figure out how to get it to folks in a.
The other thing that comes up though is those people that don't either internet or those, so that have an actual map, or you got a lot of questions from those people that have many years of experience living on Earth and do not know technology.
I understand that.
Combination, so we're getting as many people as possible. It's just something to think about.
Yep. I'm looking at Jenna. I'm thinking we can easily, like Alice and I were working on in previous fairs, we could probably come up with some maps to have available at the fair that it's always a challenge to get it down to the parcel level because the maps get really huge, but I'm sure we can figure something out. Absolutely. Aaron.
There was a map at one time that we used that had the different fire safe councils on it. I think it just needs to be updated because we've added so many.
Yeah, the one on the website is current, but it's just a PDF. It's, if you look at the Fire Safe Council website, there's a PDF version of the map. The problem is it's not very fine scale. So if you're an individual property owner, it's not going to help you. The mapping tool, again, it's not for everybody because technology is it can be overwhelming. But if you go to the county's mapping tool, you can go right to where your parcel is and see what council if you're in one. But we have to figure out how to take that and articulate it into those that don't have access or can't use it. Good. All right. Thank you. Governance and new council formation. Karen, I think you're up next. I mean, it just comes up. It says I9E.
We have some new councils that, they're not new councils, we have some councils that are taking interest in trying to decide where they're going to be and what their purpose is going to be. And so we're talking to them, and also any new councils will probably go through at about the same time that we're doing the renewals, so that we do it all in one.
Yeah, and this is I know a couple of the forming councils right now have kind of walked into this with us. Is parcel boundaries mean something now? I mean, they've always meant it, but historically we've been looser in terms of our fire safe council boundaries because we could draw it on a watershed, on a river, a stream. Challenge now is that when we're getting lots of councils, and now we've got to really decide where they touch, right? Because if a parcel's in one or the other, it makes a big difference as to which council they're participating in. And also Firewise communities, now that it's a thing for insurance, it literally matters whether every parcel, that level of detail is important for that. So that's one of the things that Richie at the county's been doing for all of us is the painstaking process of adjudicating where the the fire safe council boundaries butt up, and making sure we don't have, we call them orphans and widows, because we've got parcels that are left with no fire safe council, but they're like landlocked in between 3 existing ones. And so we're trying to clean all that up to make sure they have ownership. And at the same time, as new councils are forming, we really want to have more emphasis on, have we sat down and talked about the map first, so that in some cases have we confirmed there's opportunity to talk to the 3 adjoining fire safe councils to ensure it isn't better to be part of one of them versus starting a new one. Whatever works ultimately is what works. That's great. We want to make sure all that discussion is happening, and that's why thinking through the mapping process first, to at least have something on the ground when we start putting together and approving all of those pieces through the process. So that's why this is taking a little bit longer for these new councils to formally come forward, because we're trying to get with Richie and others to figure out the maps so that we're doing the work up front rather than having to worry about it later. So Chris.
This is a big deal. Because I'm seeing where Firewise can be a neighborhood, essentially, who's very active, meets all the requirements of Firewise, yet it's not tied into an associate fire safety council. It might be completely independent. It may be because of political reasons, neighborhood reasons, but if we are engaged in being part of that refereeing, then certainly we've got to decide how we're going to handle this on a big subject perspective. And I assume that the executive committee has had this discussion, and that Karen, that's what you're engaged in, is trying to figure out how it all fits.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Get that done. Anything else, Karen?
Not really. One thing to keep in mind is just how much bigger we've grown, how many more councils we have gotten in, even since I've been involved, it's doubled and then some. So, yeah, looking at those make a big difference now, those items.
Yeah, thank you. And really appreciate Karen's efforts, many of the council chairs who are working on this, Richie at OWAPR, because there's been a lot of discussion trying to clean these up and work on them as we go. Project reports, so far, David.
South Fork of the American River, it's a Cohesive Strategy Group. That's a overall National Forest initiative. On April 25th, the biomass group will meet at 11. And Ernie, I want you to know in particular, it's an open meeting, and if you want to get a copy of the links, you can participate. I was surprised that there haven't been more outreach to Grizzly Flat, and I'm hoping there's better communication. But once you feel free to participate.
I want to talk.
Okay, so, but anyway, on the biomass meeting, Ernie, it's April 25th at 11 in the morning. And, if you want a link to it, let me know, or if you have someone else from your community that you want to be there, that would be great. Landscape vision is kind of look at the whole thing. I usually emphasize the Redford Forest, which got moved to the Caldor fire, and see if we can bring it back or not. In fact, tonight, I think it's called the break room in Shingle Springs. There's an Amateur Eldorado Forest Forum meeting, and the regional silviculturist is going to talk about reforestation there. That's at 6 o'clock. The RAP meeting, that's put on by United Policyholders. There's a 5133 that represents homeowners basically. So we work well with the insurance commissioner. Their next meeting is a Zoom meeting at 1 o'clock on April 23rd. I can't make it as a conflicting meeting, but if anyone would be kind enough to represent us at that would be great. I think that's enough for me, so I'll give it to Rick. Oh yeah, thanks.
Last meeting, there was, after I gave my report, there was some tension related to projects, individual projects. The one that was being, discussed, was Grizzly Flats. And subsequently to that happening here, the community, through Ernie included, went to the Board of Supervisors and stated their concerns. And it was received by the board, and the supervisor for that area, George Turnbull, attempted to try to give him his side of things. This subject of biomass cogeneration is not easy. It's more than engineering, it has to do with community. And if these projects are not accepted in your community, then that's the way it's going to be. You have to be able to match up the project, no matter how much people think it's important, and the community. And I believe the board is taking a pause and trying to figure out, when I say board of supervisors of the county, is trying to figure out how all of this fits. So I have no report today. Thank you.
No, thank you, Chris, and appreciate that updated information. Any comments, questions for either David or Chris report? Okay. Now we are up to community council reports. So just do the round robin on anything going on in your community council, associate council area. And Hugh almost backhanded me right away. Did I miss a question?
If Lori had something she want to say prior to them.
Oh, Lori did. Supervisor Parlin. I didn't want to put her on the spot.
I do. Yeah.
I was trying to respect that.
Not me, I wasn't. Nope, I just didn't know if you had any update on anything you wanted to let us know, if I would give you the opportunity.
Meet with David Lindsay afterward.
So you got like, yeah, multiple things. And if you need help with David Zielinski, let us know. Thanks. Okay, Janet, we'll go first. So we'll just go around the room. What you got?
Hi,
That's good.
Janet Barrettson on behalf of Ockham Fair Play Fire Safe Council. So tonight, we're really excited to have our monthly meeting because tonight we are going to have a presentation on road maintenance and vegetation clearing along roads in the South County area. So thanks to Ken, we have Brian Mullins from the County Department of Transportation and Mark Egbert from the El Dorado RCD coming to discuss South County roads and the South County grant that we have and how they work together, play together, and hopefully will benefit everybody. I've invited my sister councils down in South County, both Grizzly Flat, Sand Ridge, and Oak Hill to come, or Elma Ranch to come join us. Anybody else wishes to join us, let me know if you don't already have the flyer. It's been going out pretty far and wide, but I'm pretty excited to have that happen, just to update everybody on what's going on road wise. There's a lot of interest there. Ockham Fair Play received a late $5,000 West Slope grant. We're very excited to announce that. We are going to be adding some signage so that we can advertise our events throughout our council area, which is growing. We've gotten to be quite a large land baron on the south side there. So we'll be adding some signs at the west and east ends of our council, buying some sign materials so that we can advertise things, the events that we're hosting, the events that are going on, as well as our meetings, and try to increase our meeting presence. In May, our next council meeting, we will also be advertising fairly heavily because I'm happy to announce that we will be having the Pioneer Fire Chief Dave Witt and the CAL FIRE Chief Dave Wood. I do things by days. So we're going to have both CAL FIRE and Pioneer Fire, as well as our resident deputy Chris Markey, come and talk about fire season preparedness, fire weather, evacuations in preparation for fire season. So that will be happening at our May Fire State Council meeting, which is the third Wednesday of every month. And lastly, we have two events that we are hosting. One will be the Green Waste event, which is funded by the council's Title III money that it has offered. So we will be having our second one for the year on the weekend of June 1st. And then on May 4th, we will be having a second event at our Pioneer School. We did a clearance event for them the year before last, and we're going to go back in and work on clearing up an obstacle course that they have on the school grounds, which are kind of a hazard and a danger both to the students at the school as well as firefighters if they got into that green space area between the schools. So on May 4th, we will be doing some clearance work to clean up that obstacle course and report. Lots of stuff going on in South.
My goodness, thank you. Others, the reports.
Okay, Green Stars, this thing is just attacking me.
They have a way of doing that.
So Carrie, we did 3 assessments in March and not 2. That's what I reported. So we had that. Then from one day other guys. May 3rd to the 10th, we're doing our second Green Waste Day from the same Title III money grant that we got. We are doing a Firewise Fiesta on May 22nd and have a lot of speakers. I don't have that in front of me right this minute, but hopefully next time I will for all those attending. Maybe we can even get Troy and attend support in just a 10.
Oh, that's
And I have a question in regards to propane tanks. It's always an issue because we're in an HOA. The HOA rules conflict with what you should do to protect your propane tank vegetation. They want them screened off in our community, and then but for fire safety, they should be cleared and no way to hit a tree if they vented, that kind of thing. And also I heard that, and it goes from this meeting, I'm sure that the rules are gonna be that, propane tanks need to be 30 feet away from the home. Is that true?
No, depends
No.
on the size of the tank. NFPA 58, the pamphlet NFPA 58 regulates placement of propane tanks. Most fire departments have all adopt that. It's a national standard. And it depends upon the size of the tank. You'll notice every once in a while I see the bottles that are leaning right against somebody's house. You've seen that? So no, if you have a question about a placement of a tank and you question that as far as distance, I'd recommend you contact local fire authority. Or you can always talk to Richie.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm wrapping up here, if I have anything else. Oh, real quick question for Janet. Did we have a little bit of excess money? And we, had, somebody use their truck to go down to the dump with a bunch of other people can we use that money for green waste to pay for dump fees? Like we have big dumpsters that we bring into Greenstone, but we have a little bit of extra money and.
Yeah, yes, I don't see where that would be a problem.
All right.
See,
To her report,
yes,
you have to be careful when you get answers because the hazardous vegetation and defensible space ordinance, which is not approved yet, it's not going to be to the board until June, I believe, 18th. That's got a provision in it that has to do with the subject that you just talked about, propane tanks and so we don't know yet where that may end up. But this is a local ordinance, which is important for you to keep track of, and that's why we brought it up earlier. That's why.
and just for clarification, there already is a hazardous vegetation defensible space ordinance. All this process is doing is updating it. So it's not, there's been a lot of talk like this is new. It's not new. It's just there are updates, and yes, there's some provisions in the update that talk about clearance around propane tanks. So yeah, but right now there's existing law already on the books and requirements. So I would just, as you said, literally either contact Richie at OWAPR, contact your local fire department. They know the current requirements for placement and clearance, and that's your best source to get the answers. So I want to keep what I want to do is we can maybe talk about some of this offline, but I want to give plenty of opportunity for other councils to talk about what they're doing, because we could dive into debate or discussion on this for a long time. We've got a lot of good experts in the room, so please utilize them, and they can steer you in the right direction. So other Fire Safe Council reports. Let me just work around the table. I think Alice was first, and we'll work back towards Bob.
Okay, I really want to say it's about 30 people, but I won't then. Okay. We have May 11, where we're gonna have it one very central location, but also somebody getting to have the dumpster in their neighborhood. So the second one will be in their neighborhood after they won the community event.
It's exciting hearing all these green waste days. This is exciting. And we do have the contract's been signed with the county for additional Title III funding. We reported on that. So checks in the mail, they tell us. But I think we'll bring this back to the full group at a future meeting, but we certainly want to continue that ability to use Title III to make these days happen. So
Hi, Bob Hess, former Lotus Fire Safe Council. Well, I've been waiting to tell you guys this for months.
Yeah.
The entire Fire Safe Council, Clinical Lotus, Trinity, and Riverwood. And we have a great team working on this, along with help from David, Lester, Kim Gallagher Road, Fire Safe Council, Greenstone, Karen helped out. I picked a lot of brains, but we got it. Richard, huge help. Anyway, so we got that. We have a public meeting scheduled for the 23rd of April. To talk about three subjects. We'll be talking about our Firewise recognition. Oh, yes, is going to be there, hopefully. And they're going to be talking about the grave and perimeter map. And also, Mary Beth from the insurance, the California Insurance Commission is going to be there to talk about insurance. So that's the 23rd. The last public meeting we had 70 to 10, 40 on Zoom and 40 in person. So we will be Zooming as one of them that wants to see it. During the meeting here, I got an email from Supervisor Parlin. I didn't realize she was behind me.
She's like that.
The Cornwall Fire Safe Council has not updated our page on the County Fire Safe Council website. We're hoping to establish our own dedicated website. But I do need to know how to access that page because it is way out of date. So thank you to Lori for pointing that out.
Carrie's becoming an expert in trying to figure that out. So Bob will link you guys up to figure that out.
The last thing I want to say is we are still working on our roadside fuel reduction grant. This morning, they are starting on Thompson Hill Road, which really should be a good poster for, I mean, it's really a mess. So I've seen pictures before. And that's it.
Thank you. Let's see, I've got, let me go to Sherry online and then we'll go back to the audience. I don't want to forget Sherry.
There we go. Hi, everyone.
There you are.
We too are going to use our Title III monies, the remainder of the money for a Greenways Day on June 1st for Goldridge Forest. Oh, I'm echoing. And also, rather than doing our evacuation meeting this year, we have decided we got a great recording last year. The attendance wasn't great, so we plan to post that up on Facebook's the recording from last year for anybody interested in evacuation preparedness in the community. We had recently, in the past, we had sent out postcards to all those that were new residents to the area for our evacuation meeting, but we had no response. I'm not sure if that's because of the post office or just no interest. So we're going to just get it out online this year and concentrate on maybe an insurance meeting and some other possibly with the new ordinance coming out, or the not new, but the updated ordinance, maybe do something on that so people have a better understanding of what's new and blue. That's all I got. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Okay, I know we have a bunch of people, but we'll catch everybody. I think I saw Elizabeth in the back.
Council, we've been really busy on the ground the last 2 weekends. We had a neighborhood-led effort to do some clearing along one of our roads. So we were able to put Title III funds to get a dumpster in, and in one day we filled that dumpster with logs and chips. So not even brush, just chip to these top. We've got over 600 feet along the roadsides of brush laid out. There was about 7 of us total working, and we busted the move. It's really
Cool.
It's awesome to be able to bring some resource to their intent and effort, and all the neighbors up and down are just raving about it. So once it's chipped, we'll get some after pictures and we can celebrate. And then we also have another Greenways Day at Bugs Bar in Silveridge, May 17 and 18. So that will be set up in a central location, and people will hopefully be bringing their Greenways stats. That'll be our first formal Greenways dumpster day. We'll see how that goes.
Wow, that's great. Right here. Ken,
Kent Street Gallagher Road.
you go back, me, get him a microphone. Make sure. There you go. Thanks, Ken.
Kent Street, Gallagher Road. Better. We've got an evacuation route, project, for this weekend. Where we're going to clear some vegetation and make sure everything's good for evacuation routes. We had the county come in and do some work on, Russell Hollow Road. Helping with our evacuation route there. And so there's been good progress there, thanks to the county there. It was actually down to where if you go and pick up through the limbs, would scrape the tops of the truck. So, this is much improved. Also, we've all heard about the, State Farm, canceling a number of policies in California, 30,000 in total. Being a numbers person, I went out and took a look at some of the numbers that they gave. And it was kind of eye-opening. In Santa Cruz and Nevada County, they're canceling like 1 out of every 22, 23 households in the county. When you look at the number of policies canceled. In Sonoma, 81 out of every 81 households are being canceled. In Placer, it's 1 out of every 867 households.
Wow.
In El Dorado County, it's 1 out of every 1,474 households being canceled. I kind of got to wondering why the huge difference? Why are we doing so much better? And personally, I think it's this effort right here with the Fire Safe Council, the work of Steve and Peter and Kent and all of us and our partners, first responders, etc. Looking at the data was real fascinating. Anyhow, that's the end of my thoughts.
Thank you, Ken. Well, much appreciated. And we'll see where things go. Okay, other councils that, Tamara? Sorry, I'll make sure we get everybody.
Tamara Johnston, Georgetown Divide Fire Safe Council. So as I've been talking about for a year or more, we finally did our Garden Valley fuels treatment planning meeting on March 20th. And we had more than 100 people there, I think. It was really successful. And if anybody knows anything about the divide, it's that people don't really get involved very much. So have that many. Great. Sort of effort on, kind of full court press on the publicity for it. So I think that even though it was a lot of work, it paid off. And I just wanted to kind of share our model or what we were trying to do with that meeting, as for others. We got a grant. Part of our Forest Health grant was to do planning in the Garden Valley area for future fuels treatments. And so we came to this community meeting with, suggested roads for treatment and some thoughts on fuel break areas, and asked the community there to let us know if, to kind of talk about what these types of projects look like. So that people, a lot of people think they're clear cutting, so what is a shaded fuel break? What does it look like? What are the environmental impacts? So that the community kind of understood what we're talking about, and then ask people to give us their information if they were interested in participating and put little dots on the map, so that from that we can then prioritize based on people who, because pretty much everything needs to be done. So we can prioritize our projects based on the community's interest in participating and helping us. So, we got a lot of people who put dots on the map and let us know that they were interested, and so we'll follow up with them and use that, I think, as a blueprint for our future grant proposals. It was also, we filmed it, so we'll put it up on our website soon, if anybody's interested in watching the meetings, just for your own ideas for community meetings. But as someone who's gonna just, it's like pulling teeth to get right of entries on a lot of these projects, we wanted to do it kind of first, right? Like, who's interested? And that's where we're gonna put our projects, rather than, here's our project, will you please participate? Whether that will help in the pulling teeth part of right entry, it's, yet to be seen, but I'm hoping it will help us get this project started more easily. So, yeah. Did you need
I love the idea of trying to get people involved and stuff, and I'm curious, on the divide, are there different levels, like for the fire hazard severity zones? Did you think about also looking at areas of higher risk, or just where people were interested? I know the fire safety council, that's part of our problem too, is we're, focusing on areas where we all are because we're interested, but then when we get out there, areas that might be at high risk.
Yeah, it's not really an issue because everybody's high risk.
Right there. Thanks, Tamara. Okay, I see Paul Gilchrist.
Paul Gilchrist. We've got several fireways communities starting. Thank you, Gavin, for your assistance with that. I got here a little late. I don't know if they're sort of this or not, but there's also an interest in two of those councils utilizing some of the Title III funds. I'll talk with appropriate people afterwards. Also, our council is talking about again spinning up the defensible space for the Pine Hill Preserve Cameron Park unit to shake it to the 200 feet that was originally in the CAL FIRE plan. I don't see CAL FIRE here, probably missed him.
Learn back.
Moving that forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Karen, were you?
Yeah, I was just waiting for everyone.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Mosquito Fire Safe Council is also doing the green waste dumpster, and it'll be our first one ever. So we're real excited about that. We've also scheduled our event for chipping with Jessica, so we have a date set up for that for a whole week. One of the things that we talked about at our last meeting was how successful, and a lot of gratitude goes out to OEF and to CAL FIRE and to CERA, the Community Emergency Radio Association. We did one of our first block parties last summer, and we have those three. Greg Almos was incredible. CAL FIRE and then CERA. It was such a great collaborative effort. And I was surprised at how many people have asked, when are we going to do that again? When are we going to have the tall guy from the sheriff's office? But it was, I would recommend that those three, are such a good group together. Also with, CERA, out of that came a collaboration that created a radio network program, Mosquito Radio Network, that's open to our whole community. And we had a training on that on 4/6, and we're kind of working together. Mosquito Fire Safe Council is trying to work together with them as much as possible most people live in these remote areas like we do up in Mosquito. And so it's been I think a great collaboration, and we had a great time at the training that we did on April 6th. So again, I recommend that to everyone as well. So thank you to all the other partners that are helping us out and making us safe. That's it.
Thank you, Karen. And Janet, you had to go back.
Thank you. Is this as if Ockham Fairplay has done enough? We did take on and add to our boundaries the community of Somerset. They were kind of an isolated group in between the fire safe councils there in the south part of the county. And so after this meeting, I'll be meeting with Richard and my boundary sharing councils to make sure that our council boundaries are all cleaned up with the addition of the Somerset area into the Occoquan Pleasure.
And because Janet had to go back, Hugh now wants one.
Yeah, I can't let her, I can't let her do that. No, well, that's right, no. We go back way too far. No, just to jump on the Green Waste Day bandwagon, Texas Hill on the 27th. We have a Green Waste Day. We have 2 dumpsters and a chipper out there. We did it last year and we had 1 dumpster and we filled it like by noon. So we felt, we need more dumpsters. So this year we got 2 dumpsters and a chipper. So just like we're on the bandwagon right along with everybody else.
Well, and I want to, again, single her out, but, Supervisor Parlin and the county's support for the Title III funding, that's really what we've been able to make a difference in getting this green waste done and some of the defensible space assistance work. So it's, we really appreciate the support from the county and the board making that happen for us. Any other councils comments? A lot going on. Uh-oh. Yeah, Alice, thank you.
So it sounded like quite a few people were doing some roadside, they're taking pictures. So if you guys could send that, I'd love in the next issue to put it on Fireflash and build one of those pictures in before and after, and that might be the better on the highlight drinks or so. Kind of do a evacuation of some busy yet, send that one. And then the one last thing was, it's not 30 yet. I just want to mention that those requirements. It's true that for sure the fire departments, have the, tell you where the propane should be and the 10 feet and all that, but there are some things out there, and I should try to find them, but I remember there are some places that you do sometimes find recommendations for 30 feet. And so somehow, and it's confusing to people because you see different recommendations. So I'm just going to mention that is out.
No, much appreciated, Al, and again goes right back to the center of why we just wanted to make sure with the defensible space assessor training that we tried to figure out where we could adjudicate where maybe there have been some differences between requirements and recommendations, and just if we're going to take an opportunity to train another group of folks, hey, just taking advantage of cleaning up some of the maybe where we have some differences. So yeah, point well taken, and we're always going to have to be reevaluating because there's new stuff coming out all the time. And so we constantly are kind of going through that process. So with that, any other public comment that hasn't already been addressed through the Fire Safe Councils? Yes, in the back. And we have a microphone for the gentleman, and introduce yourself and.
East China Hill Road. For those who don't know where East China Hill is, it's about a mile and a half down 49 from the town of El Dorado there from Port Renton. So we're interested, we have a CSD that is just our road plan. That's all it is. It's very small, very specific about what it's for. And so we're interested in starting a fire safe council, or more specifically, what we would really like to do is to join Logtown's Fire Safe Council and have be part of that, which would entail them expanding their northern border about a half a mile to include where we are. There's 61 parcels. So there's 61 parcels off of East China and the little dead end roads that run off of there. So that's why we're here today, to come and listen to what you guys have to say. I had a little talk with Karen. I actually had sent an email to Pat Dwyer, who's in charge of Logtowns, to make contact with him to let him know what we were interested in. I hadn't heard back from Pat yet. Maybe I should check to make sure I have the right email. This my email that I have from is pretty old, so maybe it's not the right one. Yeah, so that's why we're here. That's what we're interested in, and said that ideally, I think, I think it kind of does us hoping to be able to join in with them. I think kind of dovetails in with what some of you were talking about, rather than having all the smaller groups trying to get grant money and do things. Being part of a little bit larger group, makes that a little bit easier. And also when you look at how the mapping is, if you included us and it also tie in where they are, where Patterson comes in and will kind of touch them and include other spots that aren't and kind of be inclusive of a lot of stuff. So anyway, that's who I am, that's why I'm here. So thank you for having us and been interesting listening to what everybody says.
Thank you. No, we'll certainly talk offline, whatever we have to do to help connect you up. And welcome. Yes.
So my name is Michael Davis, and I'm from Logtown Fire State Council.
See, we connected you up.
So you are on our agenda, right? You have right a brand email for that, and we're discussing it. What's the concern about the overall size of a fire state council? I think it's limited to 100.
No, there's no limit whatsoever.
No limit.
So,
Yeah, no limit.
so
That's fine.
Firewise, it's 2,500.
that will be our next meeting. This is maybe 13. So thank you, again, we are considering.
Thank you.
Well, and just because again, it goes back to this, there's always numbers floating around. So I want to just make it clear for everybody. So there fire safe councils versus Firewise communities. So fire safe councils, there's no limit. There's no formal restriction on the number of parcels or folks that can participate. It literally comes down to the discussions we're having right here. What's the best fit for a community? How does that work? Firewise is very different. Those program guidelines and direction come from the National Fire Protection Association, Firewise USA, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, Richie, but it's 2,500. Yeah, 8 to 20. So just know that's where those things come from, but shouldn't factor into your decisions on coming to discussion on how to be the best fit for your fire safe council.
That's fully fine. Well,
Yeah, correct. Thank you. About 200 dwellings. Yeah, David, hands up.
I was gonna sort of say the same thing, so I was gonna just suggest that Eastern Hill go into Lockdown Fire Safe Council, but since you already serve a discrete neighborhood, we might look at becoming a Firewise community also, which is different. We can talk about that later, but and it's not one that includes the other, they enhance each other. So you guys become a Firewise community and Richard can help you and become a fire safe part of the Oak Hill Fire Safe Council, so you can do both.
Yeah.
I meant,
Well, appreciated, Dave, and what sounds like they're connecting, and we'll definitely let them make that. So any other public comment? Yes, in the back.
Hi, my name is Tom, and I'm from Sierra Springs Regional Fire Safe Council. And I just want to let you know I'm going to be taking over for Kate Campbell in the chairman position under the privilege of the great Lestership. And just want to let you know that. And also the Fire Adaptive 50 project came through our neighborhood and they're very brutal, but very efficient. And that might be something if anybody else wants to sign us for that for this project, it probably would be good in that education and outreach, that kind of messaging to let them know what can happen with their parcel if they sign up for that kind of project. Some people who are very, aesthetically sensitive, might have a bit of a shock after the project's over. And besides that, we also have a community-wide Green Waste Day coming up early.
Great, thank you. Appreciate great to see you here and appreciate Sierra Springs. Okay, I'm not seeing or online or in the room any other questions or comments. I will put up a reminder. You said it, Alice and Kit will be hosting the Defensible Space and Beyond class workshop at 1 o'clock today. So I'd encourage folks that have time, please, you're welcome and encouraged to be here at 1 o'clock in this room. With that, no, oh,
I have to go to the order.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Let me get to
you
it.
guys should know by now, I always have good of the order something. Usually it's buy a beer, but not today. But just so you know, those folks that took the field maps training. If you've gone out and you've tried to use field maps and for some reason it doesn't come up, tells you to log in. CAL FIRE updated their field maps a while ago and they took it down. And so if you try to get in and it doesn't let you in, it may ask for your login. And those of you that took the class should have got an email from CAL FIRE with your login. If you've lost it, or can't find it, let me know. I have it. I'll get it for you. And then the second thing, and I'm really glad to hear Greenstone continues to do this. Assessments are going to fire up again. People, starting to get warm. People are doing this. They're going to want more assessments. Please remember when you do those, report how many you do every month, report those to Carrie. So we can continue to keep track of that. Thanks.
Thank you, Hugh.
Hugh, would it also be helpful for people who didn't do the monthly thing, to just tell you how many have been done since then?
Yeah, no, that would be good. That helps us in this assessment group. It helps us start to get a better picture of what's happening out there with the assessments that are being done by our people. So yeah, if you would do that, that would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you. That concludes the meeting. The next meeting is May 15th right here. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the spring weather. Meeting adjourned.